All right, cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cantina MX Football Podcast. We are on episode 292. Tonight, I am your host, Jaime Landeros. Joining me will be Joel. We're going to be covering the partido between Mexico and Nigeria at the LA Memorial Coliseum. We were live there. We're going to talk about the official news of Macias joining Getafe and the details. Also, some drama involving the sentence that Mexico will be serving for the two games. And Orbelin might be going to Celta Vigo. This and much more. But before I go any further, let me welcome my co-host, Joel. How are we doing?
Good, man. It's been a good week. I hope you enjoyed the fourth, Jaime. And it was good to catch the game. The Mex versus the Nigerian All-Stars. Well, because they were facing a team of local.
Domestic, yeah.
Yeah, there you go, domestic talent. And yeah, man, they still have some ways to go. But at the same time, you could see the difference level from the Mex top players to that. So that's on a positive, shows how good Mex can be. I think as fans, we tend to downplay Mex a lot. Too stuck on that quinto partido. But the position they've been for the past, I don't say, about maybe 30 years, to be between 13th and 16th ranked in the world consistently, it's difficult. I know people would want to see them in the top 10, but you're going up against a lot there. It's just, that's a topic for another day, Jaime.
Absolutely. But yeah, for those that were in attendance in that LA Memorial Coliseum, that was my first time at that stadium, and me and Joel really got to appreciate the details as far as the stadium, made after the Roman Coliseum. They even have two stones, one from Greece and one from Rome. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, right at the entrance.
And we were there. You were in the suite. I was on the ground, just sweating, man. It was a hot one. 52,000 fans in attendance. It was a big party at halftime. Some Maná songs. Everybody was singing along. Meanwhile, Mexico scored 4 goals against Nigeria. 2 really, really quick ones in the first half. Hector Herrera started things off. And then the most recent Mexican, Funes Mori, scored and got the monkey off his back in his debut. And Joel, you mentioned that. Is that the fastest goal?
Yes, it's like, what was it, 4 minutes? He beat Guille. Guille had it like a 9. It was one of those fun facts that got thrown around. I don't think it matters much, in the scheme of things.
But you can agree that, you're already getting a little bit of controversy, a lot of criticism from pundits, from media, for having to rely on a naturalizado. And this is probably the best way to respond is with scoring, and getting that monkey off your back. We all know how nerve-wracking it could be for a striker to go on a cold streak or to have to wait X amount of minutes or games before they actually get the first goal, for their country or for their club. So for him to do it within the first 4 minutes is very, very good.
Yeah, it was. He responded, and he's likely, let's see how he does. He's being taken to the Gold Cup, correct?
For a striker to, that is
I
right.
think this is where he's gonna have to shine.
And we'll see how it goes. It should be fairly easy.
Hmm. Well, I don't know. Costa Rica might be they might be the the black. What do they call the black? The dark
The
horse.
dark horse. You think so?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you remember the last match Mex played Costa Rica, man. The
Mm-hmm.
Ticos went down swinging. They didn't go to penalties.
No, yeah,
They
definitely. It
took it
did.
to PKs, and yeah, I don't know their squad because U.S. We talked about the possible rematch with the U.S., but the U.S. is taking a very experimental team. They left all of their stars. They left them. They didn't call them for obvious reasons because they're in Europe and they're very young players. So they let them have that preseason so that they could continue fighting for first place. In the fighting for a spot in the first team. I mean, so
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like
So Max is take
I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're just content with having won
no,
the Nations League, and they're like, hey, you know
no,
what?
but if you're the coach, I mean, if you're the coach and you got that young squad with all that talent, what do you think would benefit them more? To win a Gold Cup that is just like what is it like 7 games if you play all of if you make it to the final, or is it more important that they have a full preseason and they earn a spot in the first team or get as much playing time throughout the whole season?
Hmm.
I mean, it's pretty clear to me, man. I would, especially a lot of those guys being in some of the big clubs. So I'd be like, go handle it, man.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
think the well, I mean, because the big worry for them, it's not winning a Gold Cup. It's getting back to the World Cup.
Yeah, but you have to be part of the process. You got to be familiarized with your teammates. You can't just. It's not like FIFA
Yeah,
where
but this
you.
no, but see, this squad's been together at least 2 years now.
All
I
I'm
mean,
saying
they're
is,
not.
like, look, you won a Nations League. Congratulations. It was not very convincing. I mean, it was more that Mexico kind of let that game slip. Versus like USA actually playing dominantly and convincingly. They went to penalty. I mean, they didn't go to penalties, but they went to overtime, and they got lucky there. But all I'm saying is like you can't just like slap your hands and call it a day. Like, hey, the job's not finished. USA hasn't won a Gold Cup since 2017. They didn't go to the World Cup. They're not going to the Olympics, so they don't have an excuse of using a B side for the Gold Cup. I understand that the prestige isn't there anymore because there's no Confederations Cup. But this is a young group of guys. I don't think they've played with each other as a cohesive unit against the Mexico and all these other teams, consistently enough to, be arrogant enough to send a B side to the Gold Cup that you haven't won since 2017. And Mexico's going to come in there with a vengeance, wanting to, get revenge on that Nations League final. So, I mean, if you're a USA, I don't know what's going through your head, but I do get it. If you're at Juventus, if you're at Barca, if you're at Bayern, if you're at these big clubs, that process of being part of the preseason and, maybe you're on the bubble, you're trying to fit into the starting 11. This is how you impress your coach. I totally understand, like, that's your job, that's your career, but you have a duty for your country. You have to serve your country, man. Like, that's top
That's the World
priority.
Cup, Jaime.
That's top
That's
priority,
gonna
man.
that's gonna be World Cup qualifying. This
Okay.
Gold Cup, it's not. It's not, man. We can't discredit the tournament on one hand, and then in the second make it out to be this super important. Mm,
I
And
don't
having
I
this
don't know.
this scrub squad helps him too because from this team, the coach will be able to see who has what it takes,
I see.
you know, and so he could add to. He already has his team, and that's the one team we saw beat Mexico in penalties. So he's just gonna add to that. But I mean, it's a very young team, man. Their thing is it's the long haul, and I'm thinking for Max is it's probably especially even for Tata way more important because I know he wants to win something. It- you know, he doesn't want to go empty-handed, and this is probably his last tournament. I mean, you're going to qualifiers, qualifying. He could qualify, but he's still not going to be adding any trophies. So I do think he wants to put something in the coffers. Leave
He
when he
wants
does
to.
leave Max, leave the trophy right there. A piece of him. So I do think he wants that. I mean, he did it. He did it at Atlanta. He left having won, but he probably was like at he was at Barca, and I think didn't he second place? I
He
think
didn't
they
really
were.
last long at Barca.
No, well, he did the whole season, but I think they finished second place, and then I think they lost the Copa del Rey. I think they lost the final.
At
So like,
Barcelona, the only thing he won was the Super Copa de España, and that was
yeah,
it. He lost
yeah,
the
the
Copa
one, the
del
one
Rey.
off. Yeah, there you go. And I think they finished second. And then I don't remember how he did with Argentina. I think he lost in the final too. I think he lost the Copa America final to Chile. I don't know if it was him or Sabella. I don't remember.
He was
Memory is
runner-up
foggy,
back to
Jaime.
back with Argentina,
Oh, it was him. There you go. See, so
2015 and 2016. So he's really
it
good
was both
at runner-up.
second. So I know that stung him. I know that League of Nations loss. I know it hurt him, and I think this is he wants to get that spin off. And I think if he gets that Gold Cup win,
He already won one with Mexico in 2019.
wait, you already won a Gold Cup?
Yeah, the one in
God damn,
2019.
man! I forgot there was one that was like out of my memory.
Right?
Every 2 years, who who they beat the U.S. Who they beat?
Yeah, they beat the U.S. Gio dos Santos or Jonathan dos Santos. Yeah. Yep.
Man, well there goes my whole argument about second places. Scrap that, man.
I mean,
Um,
it's one of the few trophies that he's won. So with Newell Old Boys, he won a few titles there. Libertad in Paraguay. And then you got to go to, damn, like you got to go to Atlanta United, his last recent title, MLS Cup 2018. And then Mexico 2019 Gold Cup, and then runner up for the Nations League. So, yeah, I
all
mean,
right, that's not that bad.
it's not bad.
That's not that bad then. God damn, there went my whole discourse. I should have done my homework.
It's all good.
Um,
All I know is, Mexico will be going into both tournaments stacked, not just the Gold Cup. They did announce their Olympic squad that they're taking to Tokyo. It includes Ochoa. It includes Luis Romo, Henry Martin. Those are the three overage players that are going. But, Diego Lainez, Alexis Vega, Antuna, Fernando Beltran made the cut. Happy for him. Canelo made the cut as well. Alvarado. I mean, this team is like stacked, man. It might be the most stacked Olympic team we're ever taking. We already heard word from France. They will not be taking their best players. So does that change your predictions for us going 0-3?
I know it definitely throws them out, man. But I made them, so I'm gonna have to stick by. Like I made my bet, I'm gonna have to.
Laying
They
it
are taking Gignac
and
and
Florian.
then and Florian. So I mean, there you go. No, I made my bed, man. I'm gonna stay there, but definitely it does. I mean, it's a good for Max that France is not going. You know, they're not taking all their best players.
I'm not gonna go and say, hey, we're gonna win this tournament, but I think it's not out of the stratosphere to say top 3 finish.
So you see a medal, you see at least a bronze.
I see them at least on the podium.
Oh yeah, the 10th place meme.
The 10th place meme. I mean, this team is stacked and they have experience. That's another thing. A lot of these players are got plenty of experience going into this Olympic, tournament. So
Yeah,
it's different.
and that's one thing Mex also as well. You know, they've been pretty good at working with the youth. That's one thing about Mex, where for the most part they've been getting it right. Every time they go to these tournaments, they usually take, as you said, very competitive teams, and they end up doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to before, where it seems as like they would just throw something last minute, and teams wouldn't qualify, or exit first round exits and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, but and then the other thing that has been obvious is, you know, at the youth level, Mex certainly has that pedigree. They already have a they already have a gold, and they have two under seven, two or three.
2 under
They got
17.
two under 17, and under 20 they haven't been that good, but then they haven't been that bad
I think
either.
they got
So
either silver or 3rd place in the under 20.
yeah, so I mean they're a team now that that they'll it's a team you shouldn't be surprised. One wouldn't be surprised if they're doing well.
Yeah. Kind of had a little bit more thoughts on the Nigeria game. The team, at least from my impression, they're a cohesive unit. They're getting along. They've welcomed Funes Mori with open arms. I was right there behind the goal, and when Hector Herrera scored his second goal, like he was the first one to embrace him, and it seems like the team is getting along well, which is important. You can't control your opposition. It's not Mexico's fault that Nigeria had to bring their domestic side. It is a shame though, because Nigeria has a really good team. They have players in respected clubs in England and all in Europe, and that's the kind of football that I would like to see Mexico face more, especially the African teams. We don't really have too many opportunities to face them at full 100% level. So a missed opportunity there, but I was really blown away with just the vibe in LA, like the fans. It just felt like a big party. It felt like Mexico City. There was like people outside the stadium selling beers, selling, fake shirts, selling masks. It was like a tianguis out there.
Yeah, you said you wanted that black and pink, but in green. You said
Oh,
what? Black and
yeah. So like the Mexico jersey, it's a polarizing design. Some people don't like the pink, and you had seen online like concepts of just swapping out the pink with a green hue. And I'm walking to the stadium, and there's already people selling the concept jersey, but people wearing it. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Yeah, it was.
yeah, that's always been since I remember going since a kid. The walk up to the stadium was always something else. It 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 would transform that part of LA. The Coliseum area, MLK and Fig and some of those other streets, and they would just change, and you would see like all the street vendors. What's more common now, but back then, you know, um, you didn't see it as much. So you'll have like the danger dogs or the bacon wrap hot dog vendors and the other people selling all that pirateria merchandise from flags to jerseys and bandanas and stuff like that. And so I don't think I saw it, but before they used to sell like horns.
Yeah, you don't see those
They used to
anymore.
sell like yeah, people stopped buying them. But yeah, they used to sell like if you wanted to buy like a plastic trumpet.
Wow.
As I hope my memory is not it's not dodging me like it was earlier. But but yeah, it is crazy. Like the whole ambience, like you said, you feel like you're in Mex.
And you told me, that used to be like the go-to stadium, the Azteca del Norte.
It was, man. You gotta go before Soccer United marketing, and so which they came in around '05. That's when they took over. Um, well, they didn't take over, but they got the contract with FMF to organize friendly games. So if you go, back, you go that far back, late '90s, early 2000, that was the majority of the friendlies. You had obviously more friendlies in Mexico, and then when they came to the U.S., it was mainly it was mainly the Coliseum. Every now and then you had like probably like Chicago or Miami, uh, but most of the time was just you know that was the to go spot. And once the SUM came in, some that's it. Mex started going to places that you wouldn't think there were any Mexicans, and all of a sudden it was like
Yeah, we're gonna go to
sellout crowds.
Nashville, and we're gonna go to New York, and we're gonna go to Texas, and we're gonna go to Florida. Yeah. What was that?
It was like
Was that
I remember.
Dave Chappelle little throwback?
Yeah, I remember that. But that's from an actual politician. You, um, yeah, he made a skit making fun of that guy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's one of the things. And then we talked about it briefly how a lot of fans kind of hate. They'll talk about Moleros and whatnot, but at the same time, they keep going to these games. And then if you see the
Yeah.
other side of the token, if you see the other side of the token, you're having this opportunity you normally would not had, which is to watch the selección. And a lot of times, not just is the opponent, but a lot of times you want to watch the players to get to see them play live. I think it's a
Exactly.
bit more of a, it is more a bit of a, I don't know if you could call it luxury if you do get to have this, like, oh, they played Brazil or they played like the friendly when they played Argentina and Messi was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, every now and then you do get that luxury or fortune that you get this awesome matchup and then you get to see this other big name players. But I mean, if you're a fan of the team, that's to get to see a lot of these guys to play, and it's always it always looks different when you're at the stadium than watching TV. You get to see way more, a lot of the off the ball movement and whatnot. TV, you're just gonna see whatever the camera's just following the ball. A lot of times you're not gonna see some of the other stuff's happening on the other side of the field.
It's funny because the same people that are like partido bolero, boycott the selección, this is why we're mediocre, because everybody goes to these games. They're also the first ones. Oh my God, I'm at the Coliseum selfie. Chucky Lozano, dude. Every time, man. I've been to quite a few Mexico games, thanks to Soccer Chronicle. And the Chucky Lozano chant at every single game. He's the biggest star right now. Unfortunately, because Raul's, broke his Humpty Dumpty head.
That's right.
And
Yes.
it's funny because I captured a photo If you guys want to see all the photos I took, they're at soccerchronicle.com. But there's a photo of him. There was a throw in on the side where he was, and that little downtime between the ball boy getting the ball to the guy that's about to throw the ball, and Chucky's like really close to the fans, and they start saying his name, and he just like looks and puts like his thumbs up, but it's like one of those awkward thumbs up, like, hey, like, all right, man, like, I'm just trying to play a game, It's like the overly attached girlfriend, man, It's like, yo, just chill, man. I'm just a human being, But the fans, man, they give their unconditional love and support to this team. So you can't hate them for that.
That's been a talking point, though, the whole Molero thing and whatnot. You don't get good because you played a friendly against Brazil, or because every other friendly selection's going to play, maybe 4 times a year?
Yeah.
And that's not what makes you good. At the end of the day, it's your local league, because that's what's producing the talent. So you need a strong domestic league, produce enough talent that not only do you not ship, but it gets talent that's going to end up getting spread out, end up in top leagues and whatnot. Those teams, even if you don't play friendlies, once you get those really good players together, they're just gonna, they're just gonna be. It's that whole talking point. It's an old one, man. That's from way back when Mex didn't really even play in this many tournaments as they do now. Because some of these tournaments weren't around. Some of them come and go, like the Copa America, and then what is it called? Confederaciones, which sad to see go, because Mex has that big, they have that cup in their coffers.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks that it's for a tournament, but it could be brought back. You never know. That's my hope, just because Mexico has one. And yeah, I never bought that whole, the team, because they play these weak teams, and that's why the teams. It's not, that's weak sauce, man. You need it becomes a bit of a numbers game when you think about it, as far as like producing players, and so like when you see like some of the big, like Argentina with their league has about 300 players active. They have about, big recent they went up to 30 teams. Because it's a part of it where they were hurting for money, so they went up to more teams because that's how a lot of those clubs survive, is through selling players.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of players they sell abroad, because it's impressive. It's like in the hundreds, or I think goes into the thousands, because they'll sell even to like all the leagues, man. It could be New Zealand, it could be Philippines. You'll find players from, it don't matter, man. They'll sell, and that's same with Brazil, with all the.
You see a lot of Brazilians end up in like the K League or J League, out in like Asia and Australia. I mean, because all you got to do is say you're Brazilian. That's all you got to say. Like, boom, here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Kind of on the topic of exporting players, we had mentioned last episode about a potential trade or loan or purchase of JJ Mack to Getafe. And just a day or two ago, they officially unveiled him through one of the most awkward press releases ever. It was a screen capture of someone playing FIFA, searching for JJ Mack, and offering to purchase him on loan. That is how they announced Jose Juan Macias to Getafe. It was a FIFA, like FIFA 21 like thing. It
I'd
was.
see, I've seen that done before. I can't remember with who.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah, I've seen it done before. They did it like that. They did the whole, like they did it through like the video game thing announcement, and people weren't sure. I didn't know that's how they did it. When I saw the news, it was from Getafe. Someone retweeted Getafe's announcement saying, "Welcome to the Blue Family" or something like that. They're called. Um, but what was interesting was that right away you started having all these negative, really negative tweets from a lot of fans. And one that I read caught my mind because it said, it said, remember back when Amex would go abroad and we would all be happy? And it's like now it's like if they don't go to certain teams, we start attacking them. And there's truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. And then the other one, which was some salt being thrown, it was like this fake rumor that the coach didn't ask for him. It was like the Getafe coach didn't even want JJ Mack. But
That got shut down.
yeah, Martin was one of the first to speak out against it, and he's based in Spain, and he said how the coach had met with JJ Mack and they had talked, and that's big important news. Something that we've talked about here in the podcast before about Mexicans going abroad.
Uh huh.
That if you get to talk to the coach and they're like, hey, I could, they're upfront with you about their intentions, you'll have a better time, a better chance than if you just went because some agent placed you and there was some type of deal and they throw you there and then the coach could be like, no obligations, and then not even play you or send you to the reserves. So that the coach had been in meetings with him, then I think that paints a good picture there for Mr. Mack.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was a little bit confused, with the details, because there was also like, oh, Villarreal were interested in purchasing him and then loaning him out to Getafe, and I was like, that's kind of a head scratcher because why, if you're Chivas who are poor, would you pass up on the offer of upfront money? Maybe, it was not as much money as they could, probably get if they would have played the long game with Getafe, because with Getafe's loan, there's a percentage, there's a future transfer fee. So, if, Getafe will have the option to buy him and own him, and Chivas will get a little bit more money because of the future, sale or whatever. So, it's a little bit of a head scratcher, but I am very happy to hear that, the coach obviously knows about him. It's not just a random signing. And, he was on an exclusive interview with Tudene, and he showed his admiration for Amauri because he did have genuine intentions. He did fulfill his side of the deal, saying, hey, we're going to get you to Europe. And he says he has a great relationship with Amauri Vergara, and that he's going to go out there and kill it. And, he knows that, hey, they're really gambling that I have a really, really good season with Getafe because Chivas will end up getting more money if he has a great season. So I wish him all the best, man. I mean, he's been on a bit of a cold streak. He's willing to miss out on the Olympics. So it's like he's really putting all his eggs in this basket.
Yeah, yeah, and I hope it goes well for him. I mean, he's been a player that he's had you know, his mindset on how he wants his career to play off, and it's been going well for him because when he left Chivas was because they weren't going to guarantee him a chance in the first team.
Yeah.
I believe Higuera wanted to send him to his second division team. I forget which team he had at that time.
Nayarit, right?
I believe it
¿Cómo
was
se
one
llama?
team that he owned or he had some stock in, but he was like, nope, I'm ready for the big time. And so the deal with Leon was cooked up, and he blew up, and he was.
Coras. Sorry, it's bugging me.
Yeah, there you go, Coras. I always forget.
Yeah,
Forget that
same.
name too. So yeah, and he goes to Leon. We all saw what happened there. Just great, became a household name. You know, people are flinging dirt at Chivas and whatnot. And then I feel Peláez, played a role in bringing him back, and a
Absolutely.
lot of people won't give him credit on that. And this was one of the things that if some deal came, they would let him go. But to me, it's like, okay, maybe you're missing out on a big payout, but if you're Chivas at the same time, it's one of the things you want to guarantee to Mexican players, especially right now when it's so difficult for them to bring in Mex players.
Yeah.
And it's you want to be a club that it's like we could help you get there, because there was a
That's
lot
a
of
selling point now.
it is, and for people to see that, they can't use that against Chivas, saying the whole, which kind of happened during Vergara era, even though I think the media made it look worse than it was, because it's like when Bravo wanted to leave, and then Fabian, and then because
Osvaldo.
sometimes you get some of these weak offers, and it's like, okay, I'm paying you bank, and now you want me to lose money on top of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so sometimes it's the greed of the player as well, where they want everything.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, it was both, and I mean, they all ended up leaving. Um, well, Bravo did go to Porto and then came back, and that just looked bad.
I went to
And then,
Deportivo.
oh, did he go to Portugal? Same color,
Oh,
same
Bravo?
same jersey, no?
No, Bravo
Isn't it
went
the
to
same white
Deportivo
and
La
blue?
Colonia.
Oh, there you go, white and blue. Is it the jersey?
Yeah.
Why am I thinking Portugal? Oh man,
I don't think
going
we've ever
senile
dealt with any Portuguese
with
club.
any Portuguese club. Nah. All right, I'm
Except
losing
for
my marbles, Jaime.
the only exception was Godinho.
Ah, there you go. Probably thinking, but and then the one that left, he wanted to leave too, and he had problems, and they sent him on loan.
Alanis?
Was no, no team wants him now. It's kind of sad.
No team wants him now.
Who is
You can
it's
say that
Marco
about a lot of
Fabian.
players.
Mark Marco Fabian though.
Marco
It's
Fabian.
Marco Fabian, yeah, because
Is he still at Juarez? Shit, I don't even.
I don't know where he's at, man. He's at some house party still. He's getting drunk.
Uh,
Um, this dude, but remember, because he was at Chivas and he was like the next big thing. He has that awesome game against Barcelona. Scores a hat trick, I believe, including a chilena, and he's like at the top of the world. And he wanted to leave, and they wouldn't. But I don't think there was any concrete good offers.
yeah.
But it caused problems and made Chivas look bad. And then the way they brought him back was when Nestor de la Torre came back to the club, and he brought him from Cruz Azul. He was almost in a similar deal as JJ Mack, where he's on loan, but they have an option to buy. But he's like, you know what, come play here, and the offer comes, and I'll facilitate, the transfer, and he ends up leaving to Germany. I don't even want to say the club anymore, Jaime.
Frankfurt.
If you're on my Frankfurt. he, and so he leaves. but after that, it's just been a
Well,
shit show with Chivas. But
yeah.
now with the club, you could say it's like restructuring, new management, new everything. Um, you know, and now that Vergara's gone and Higuera, which was the big mover there,
Uh,
and so I do think you have to start kind of fresh with that, and I think that was the step in the right direction, even though it might not seem so, because it's like, we're going off of that. What was it, 25 million back when he was at Pachuca, which even then it was like there was never any like concrete offer. And I think so. I think the media a lot of times they blow up, smoke up our asses, and we end up, believing some of this stuff.
yeah. Yeah, with Macias going, it's exciting. More,
Yes, they can.
yeah. I mean, if you think about it, they're not relatively a big club, so I mean, he's guaranteed to start. Maybe not start, but he's guaranteed to get a lot of minutes. And another player that's being rumored to go to Spain is Orbelin Pineda, potentially to Celta de Vigo. If I'm not mistaken, his contract is expiring at the end of December. So if you're Cruz Azul, you're going to want to basically take any offer that comes your way. There was even rumors of
Yeah,
him returning to
there
Chivas.
was. Yeah, because there was talk that he didn't want to stay there. I'm not sure what, and it's it could be different reasons. Why he might not want to be at the club. Doesn't have to be negative.
I think he just,
Um.
similar to Macias, he has aspirations of going to Europe. He's still a relatively young player.
Oh, well,
He's,
if he wants, yeah, if he
yeah.
wants to go to Europe. But I mean, the whole Chivas thing, then that, because if he ended up at Chivas, then that would be like, I wouldn't say a step down, but I would think Cruz Azul would be paying him more money, and he would be just better positioned, I guess. I don't know, unless he feels more at home at Chivas.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know his dad was a diehard Cruz Azul fan, so um, I don't know if that had any influence on his decision to play for the club. Really quickly, we have Ricardo. Welcome to the podcast, Ricardo. He was making me laugh with some of his
Oh,
comments. He said, "Funegol, Chicharito, who?" And he's saying Macias will be back in a year, then he'll end up at Austin FC. uh,
snap.
I don't know
It
about
could,
that one.
it could happen. Well, yeah, it's actually that scenario could very well play out. That's why we laugh. But it's funny because it's true. But he could also end up having a, you know, just making it abroad, man. It's not always. I think right now for him the big obstacle is not having the EU passport.
Yeah,
That's the main thing for him, more so than I would say like his talent or his ability. It's just that, man, and it kind of sucks. Like you're pretty much third class citizen in Europe if you don't have that EU passport and you're not a very big name.
yeah. To the point where Boyo Brisueño is actually in Spain right now trying to get his European passport because he qualifies for one thanks to some lineage. I guess if you are like Jewish and
But,
Spanish descendants,
oh, all right.
you get to get a European. I don't know. He was explaining to on social media. I'm like, what, dude? Like,
No, well, if you could, if you have like a grandfather or great grandfather, you could get it right away.
oh, okay.
If you go more further back, but then at that point you would have to probably pay to get all the paperwork, and then it would probably still take time, but it would expedite the process. But I think if you have like a grandparent,
Yeah.
it makes it, you don't have to do like the whole 2 years, I think.
Yeah. I think it's 2 or 3 years in Spain.
Yeah, which is if you think about it, it's not that long.
No, it's not that long. Not
Which
bad
was
at all.
which was where Ochoa messed up, because he shouldn't have left when he was at well, he messed up twice, because then I think at France he was gonna qualify, and then he left France.
Ochoa has made some of the worst career decisions like that I've ever seen.
His agent,
Um,
whoever his agent was, man, was
whoever his
just
agent needs to,
throwing darts.
that guy should be pushing carts at Walmart, man. That guy should get fired because he was at Acio,
It was
Axio,
Dreyfus.
and he was there for like 3 years, man. And the team got relegated to the second division. He didn't want to stay. There was a fan that was willing to
Didn't he?
sell his house just to afford his wages, and he decided to leave to
Man,
Malaga. Unfortunately, a deal to Liverpool fell apart because of his failed drug test. So he ends up at
oh,
Malaga, and then he ends up getting bodied by a Nigerian goalkeeper, and he ends up riding the pine for years. And he still didn't get
well,
his European
the
passport.
the goalkeeper coach was also Nigerian, I think. He it was just a bad deal all around, man. But yeah, you're right. He should have stayed in France, though. I think if he stayed that one extra year,
Yeah.
he would have he would have had his French passport.
And he speaks French, man. That was
But
my
yeah,
favorite version of Ochoa because he was in France. He had like a porn star stash, and he was blocking amazing shots from like Zlatan and all these
oh yeah, when he played
PSG.
PSG, that was
Kept him
yeah,
a
that
clean
was
sheet, man.
I remember that he made the highlight reels.
Yeah. So not to be the bearer of bad news, but with Macias gone and with a few Chivas players that are going to be indisposed at the start of the season, I am not, as a Chivas fan, I am not looking forward to the beginning of the season because we're going to be missing Nene Beltran, Angulo, Alexis Vega, and Antuna. So, and we haven't signed anybody. So I mean, do we even have enough players to have a starting 11 right now? Like,
Yeah, man, they
is
they got the
bad.
cantera, dude. They got the cantera.
It's like the 2006 Chivas team
Plus
all over
plus the
again
process.
when you know we sent all our players to the national team so they could go to their camp, and then we ended up going to like the playoffs with like a bunch of reserve players that had never even played in the first division. Chaton
Yeah. Well, I
Enriquez being
mean,
one of them. Avila, man.
yeah. Well, that's part of the thing, where clubs just, there's not that many Mexicans, and their clubs just, they don't really care to sell right now. Uh, and then if you're Chivas, you're not just gonna buy any player. You have to be pretty selective of who you're going after, and it hasn't been easy for them. Um, you know,
Yeah,
so I think
absolutely.
that's the tough stuff, man. And I think a lot of Chiva, I should say Chi hermanos, should understand that, man. It was long time coming. As soon as the league went into, okay, you could field 8 foreigners. That was pretty much it, man. That was a ganchazo right into Chivas. It was like all of a sudden you went from, I think it was 60 foreigners to like 180. I don't know, but how many players there now got cut off? You know, if
Yeah.
you went from 60 to like over 100 foreigners, that's a bunch of players that are just gone now. Then that's less for Chivas to choose from. So yeah, ouch.
So you're just saying look internally, and I think that's fair.
Well, they have no other choice. Um, they really don't. Just Tapatio and whoever they could bring up from there and play them. Can't just go buy a bunch of scrubs and hope one of them makes it. I think they've been pretty diligent about when it comes to who they're gonna buy, and I think the ones they went after they just weren't able to land. Um, who was it? Araujo. I don't know what happened with this possible transfer because I heard he was leaving Spain, and then it's like the news just sort of died out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know if you heard anything about Nestor Araujo.
Um, from my understanding, he's still a Celta Vigo player.
Yeah, and then Moreno, but I knew that was a long shot.
Yeah,
I knew
Moreno's
if one of the I knew if
Rayados.
one of the Monterrey teams was interested, they were gonna get him. And then the other Aguirre would come down to Pachuca and Pachuca, man, they really like to triple charge Chivas.
Yeah. No,
It's like
it makes
their
sense.
favorite customer, man. They see Chivas coming in, the prices just automatically go up.
It's just I'm looking at this. I'm on the Chivas website. I'm looking at our team, our official team, and looking at who's left in the striker department. Chino Huerta, Angel Saldivar, and Oribe Peralta. Also Ronaldo Cisneros. Although, if I'm not mistaken, I thought Ronaldo was going to be loaned out. So, that's going to be like our forwards for at least 3 to 4 fixtures to start the season. And
Saldivar, man, that's the guy that they killed when they sent him to Monterrey.
they did.
It still gets to me, man. His progress was doing good. I think he had about 6 goals per season for like
He had
the
a great
previous seasons,
he had a great
and
run, man. He was in great
he
form.
was yeah, he was consistent, and 6 goals might not seem like a lot, but if we go down the list of like goleadores, the really top ones they'll go into the double digits, but the pretty good decent ones they're about that amount. They're about like 6, 7, 8, depending. But I mean, dude was still young enough. You're just hoping he'll have a breakout season and he could go up that number. And then they sent him to Monterrey, and Monterrey just buried him. And
Yeah.
they sent us a tronco in return. And I never quite understood that whole deal because I know they wanted that midfielder. Um, dude, what's his name?
Our
Jaime.
captain,
Yeah,
Jesus
supposedly
Molina.
that's what I heard, that they would only they would only sell Molina if it came with a with a loan trade. Send Saldivar and they're gonna send us what was it? Madrigal, or what was his name?
Madrigal, who's
Yeah,
like
man.
I don't even know
He's
where
like
his career's at right now.
the walking tree from Lord of the Rings. He was like those. He's just a big he's
He
a big
literally is a
tronco, man.
walking tronco, man. He's 6'3". This dude's huge, man. I remember when I talked about it before. I saw him when Chivas came out to Sacramento, play a friendly, and I was like, "Who the hell is this dude, man? This dude's freaking huge." And then seeing him on the ball, I'm just, oh my god, this guy's terrible.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. It just it killed me, dude. It killed me. I've seen few, and
Yeah,
it killed me to see that dude.
we're gonna have to see if Chevy Martinez is back healthy. I know he had suffered a really bad injury. Maybe we can get him back up to the first team. Michel Benitez, Zaid Munoz, Oscar Macias. Some of these guys have been uh, doing really well for Tapatio.
Well, it's if Saldivar can get back to that form,
Yeah,
if his
absolutely.
mentality is there, because it's like, hey, you're not getting another shot like this. Like if you can't do shit at Chivas, there's no team that's gonna take you, man. You're looking at Liga de Ascenso
I
or
mean, he had after Rayados. Remember, he went to Puebla and he still couldn't hang. So it's like, damn, bro.
well,
He's
this is his last shot, so he
he is
better
like his
he just
like third chance, bro. He's a cat with like 9 lives.
yeah, him, and then I'm hoping Oribe, man. That's another guy. I keep thinking every year his contract's gonna expire, but he seems like I don't
This
know what
dude,
kind of contract he got, man. He, he,
he's on the
see,
retirement contract right now. He's getting his social
he's
security.
got
He's getting his
he's got
pension,
those
man.
rollover minutes, man. And so I mean, man, I don't. He was really damaged goods, man. He was all broken up. So I mean, I'm hoping he's healed. I would like him. Because man, he's what he did for Selección. This guy, he did a lot. I would like to see him have at least a good season before he retires and not go out the back door, man. Just causing lastima and just looking bad. People calling him trash and whatnot, and it's
Yeah. I mean,
kind of in.
think about it. If you're Oribe Peralta, you're like 30, 40 years old. I don't know how old he is. You're getting paid millions and you're not even playing. So it's like, why would you rock the boat? It's not, you know what I mean? Hey, you guys can continue to pay me as much as you want. That's on you guys, For me,
No, well,
I
yeah,
don't
this
care
is
if I play or if I don't play. I already won the gold, the gold in
what
the
is his
Olympics.
contract? Is his contract he had with Ame? So America hooked him up, and then the deal with Chivas is supposed to be loan, but a loan deal is usually like a year.
It's like the
By
Mets
now,
player.
by now, it feels like 4 years.
It's like
Feels
that
like
Mets
he's been
player
here
that
a long time.
he's getting paid from the Mets for 30 years.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like it just happened. It's July 1st.
Man, well, is he 15? How old is this kid? How old is this
Bobby
guy with a
Bonilla.
30-year deal?
Bobby Bonilla
Oh, no, that dude's old.
last played in 2001, deferred salary arrangement, and they pay him $1 million every July 1st since 2011, and will continue to do
Damn.
so until 2035. So
Wow, man.
yeah, they like owed him money, and instead of getting it all up front, he asked if just pay me
He
this
just
over the
wanted the
course of like,
payments.
yeah, he did the
It's like
long game.
like the scratchers, like a million a year for 25 years. California Gold Scratcher. Man, that's that seems like Oribe's contract, man. Except he's with Chivas, but America's paying him. It's so weird. Um, yeah, I
Yes,
don't know, man.
it's I'm just like, I didn't have much optimism going into, thinking now, Liga MX and Chivas, and I wasn't looking too excited because I knew Macias was on his way out, and I knew that the Olympics were going to happen, but yeah, it's just even more of a reason why we're probably going to be 0-3, 0-4 to start the season. They did release the schedule, and I think Chivas have somewhat of a soft pitch. They have like San Luis, Juarez, and I think like Santos to start the season. So not terribly bad, but it's gonna be tough, man.
Except last season they lost to these weak
They
teams.
did. San Luis, Puebla, and Juarez to start the season. Yeah, so that's the schedule.
Yeah, man. Well, and it sucks, man. It sucks for my boy right here, Mr. Midas, Vucetich. You know, gets a lot of flack, but at the same time, the club has not gotten him one player, man. Not one player. On the contrary, players keep leaving. They got rid of 5 players now. If you think of the 4 players that got sent out, trophies and all them, with all that
Trophies,
desmadre
Pocho
that happened.
Guzman, Di Alpando, Alexis Peña. Yeah,
Yeah,
trophies.
now JJ Mack, like
Now
they've
JJ
removed
Mack.
they
It's
remove players. It's like they keep making the difficulty setting.
it's like if Jeff Gordon, right? Like NASCAR racer, was won everything. It's like if they said, "Hey man, we want you to race with us. And here's a Ferrari." And then, you sign the deal, you're like, "All right, cool." And then halfway through the season, "Hey, by the way, we're missing a few pistons, a few wheels, and we're out of gas. Good luck trying to win this race." It's like, what, bro? How am I supposed to do anything? I don't have a working car.
His crew pit goes from 5 to like one guy that has to change the tires. It's just with a jack that doesn't work.
And then they're like, "Hey, but look, we're out of professionals to help you out with this task, but we have all these kids from my auto shop class,
That's true. They bring a bunch of scrubs from the
They're still learning, but they're
from
young."
the junior college. That's what. Yeah, that's what Wuse, man. I think fans need to cut in some slack. It's hard to work under those conditions, man, and yeah, it sucks.
Well,
It
they're
sucks,
grilling you
man.
in the comments, man.
Oh, bring it, man. Oh, what are they saying? Is it?
Ricardo's been trolling the whole episode.
Ah,
He says that I've been a long time listener since you guys started the pod. I'd like to debate with
thank
Joel.
you.
And he was saying that Vuse excuses, one word.
Oh,
And he said Chevy Martinez is more like a Honda than a Chevy.
it's a Honda.
Chivas need a dose of reality and a new owner, not some lame wannabe movie director. I do agree with that.
It's true. Well, see, it's true. What he's saying is true. They are excuses, but at the same time, they're valid.
Yeah.
As far as it is an excuse, but it's a valid one. Him going into a club, he comes in, they can't get him any players, and then he's going into his 3rd season, and instead of getting players, he's lost players. He's lost like 5 now, and so, I mean, so yeah, I get a lot of the criticisms, but at the same time, it's like he's not being given much to work with, and then. And then about the owner, that is true. I one thing I talked about how well we were talking about because we were comparing what is it like FEMSA and Cemex, and you got these other big companies, and then you have OmniLife, and I guarantee you, majority of people had not heard of OmniLife until Vergara bought Chivas. Like I never, up to this point, I've never even seen a store. I've never even seen their products.
It's a MLM scheme.
Well, but and I know they kind of sell, like they'll have like that kind of Avon lady type of thing going on. Um, but yeah, I don't see it as a company that has that much money. And so there was talk, I remember a long time ago, of possibly um, Slim buying Chivas, and I know it died out around the time because they built the stadium,
Yeah.
and so now it's like you have to buy the stadium too, because we're not going to use it if if the
It's
team's
part
not
of
there anymore.
it's part of buying the franchise. Is like the stadium is owned by Chivas, so
Yeah.
that must have
So
raised the evaluation of the club to the point where maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I
viable.
think that yeah, I think that's made investors probably stay away a bit. And I know
It's
I
crazy
know
though, man. You got like the freaking Cleveland Browns being evaluated at like over $1 billion. The
well,
Cleveland
because
Browns, ladies and gentlemen, they don't even have a
probably because of
mascot.
the
What kind of name is the Cleveland Browns? Like, that's a color. It's not even a name or a culture or nothing. There's no brand there.
was
And
probably because but the TV contract is
yeah, not that I'm
they still play
underestimating.
the
Yeah,
Yankees and whatever other big
I'm,
teams, and
I'm
that's
not. I'm not
they put their
underestimating
money
like
there.
the NFL. I understand like globally it can generate a lot of
Oh, the
money and
Browns is football. I was thinking baseball.
no, the Browns. See, you don't even know. That's what I'm saying. That's
Well,
the whole point. It's like
well, I heard of them, but I mean they're still gonna play the other big teams,
yeah. What I'm
the
saying though is like
Cowboys and whatnot.
it baffles
I
me
said yeah.
that Chivas being the biggest club in Mexico and it's a huge
TV, right?
iconic team and there's a stadium included and you can get it for only 300 million. Like it's like that is so cheap. That is like for
It
me
is, but the TV contract, I mean, so like the
I just
NFL
oh
that
man.
has the package same as EPL, so that's where you can make the money through the TV, and then that makes the the sponsorships worth that much more money, and so Chivas TV deals are weak sauce. That means their sponsors for jerseys and then even ad boards drops, so it's even cheaper now. This is really good. And man, I can't find it.
All
It
I'm
was this
dude,
really good.
for me like hopefully the silver lining of this Amazon Prime docu series that everybody's making fun of. Hopefully, some dude in Arabia or some rich person,
You want
some
oil money,
billionaire
huh?
watches this, realizes, does a little bit of research, realizes how big this club is and how cheap they can get it for, and turn it into like this huge global iconic like. I don't know, man. I just see this huge
No, it
vision for
doesn't work like
Chivas.
that. Jaime, you need the TV contracts, man. You
I know
need,
you do, but it's
and
like
then well,
it's like money on the table, man. It's like buying Dogecoin at like a penny right now. It's like this
but
team could be worth so much more money because it only plays
yeah,
because of like the history and stuff. And it's just like, how is there no? I mean, I'm sure there's interest, but I know Amadi's not going to sell, because of his dying wish with his dad and all that stuff. But come on, man, this team deserves like some cash, some investments, some angel something, man. There's no
well,
way
yeah,
we're
the
going
league.
broke.
Well, I think that's what the league's working at, and that's one of the reasons they did the whole no relegation. They're trying to restructure the league, and there was even talk about getting rid of. Well, they sort of did, but I don't know if it's for a longer term or getting rid of the whole relegation thing.
Yeah.
And I know they've done other stuff, but ultimately it's going to come down to trying to have some type of TV package, more similar where it's like a league-wide deal as opposed to like club by club. And so
Yeah.
I think once they do that, it could mean more money all around, and then that would immensely help Chivas. And I think that and we've seen why they've been trying to break away from that and it's been costing them. They left Televisa and the Chivas TV thing, but since that they've lost money because Chivas TV obviously did not bring in the money they thought they would, because then they went back to
You're telling me my six
TV.
ninety nine subscription isn't sustaining
Nah, it's not
Chivas?
it's not cutting it, dude. And then at one point they were like at 5 different TV stations, and we would think, okay, more money, but no, not really, because it's not exclusive. If you were to sell it as an exclusive, then yeah, you could make
Yeah.
way more money, but it's everyone's showing that, so it's less because Chivas at one point when they were at Televisa, before all that happened, so they would guarantee you 11 million. That was their viewership in Mex, 11 million. That was their TV rating. So imagine, so 11 million, right? So if you wanted sponsorships, they would know, okay, if they're watching, your game, your the whatever. It's this is how many people are gonna get to see the product
Yeah.
if you're advertising at 11 minutes. But now you cut that up through 5 different stations, and it's no longer 11. It's all butchered up.
I wonder how
Everyone's
much
taking a.
Telemundo's paying them. I'm sure they're probably their
It,
biggest
it was,
contract.
and they didn't release the info, and then it was like it wasn't a set contract. I think we talked about it here. It was like a year by year type of thing.
Yeah.
So that was like, damn,
I
that
know.
sucked. So I was like, if they would have gotten that, and I was banking on that, I was banking that Chivas would get that nice 5-year deal, would have landed them anywhere from 80 to like about 100 million. Nope. And you have to see what was going on in the U.S. with the whole Disney acquiring Fox and all that stuff. It just ended up hurting Chivas as well.
So, a question from the audience. They're asking, how did Vergara buy Chivas?
So Chivas was broke. They lost a lot of money just because it became more expensive. You know, Campeonísimo was in the 50s, late 50s, going into the 60s. But between the 60s, 70s, football started becoming more professional in Mex. And 70 they have the World Cup, 86 World Cup again. But by like the 70s, 80s, that's when you saw these like there was just more money coming in from other teams where they were paying players now, and it's just becoming more expensive to run a club, and so I guess how Chivas was like OG club. It was with actual the what was it? What are they? Socios,
Uh huh.
because that's a club. You could call a team a club, but it doesn't have socios. It's not really a club. It's just a name. So they
Hmm.
were an actual club where they had all these socios, and the socios had stock in the team. And man, I guess these guys just didn't know how to manage it. So by the 90s, um, I think that's when they were really broke, and and that's when what was it? La Promotora came in and they rented out the club. So the Promotora was with Martinez Garza, and they Promotora was they owned Mexlube. So that's when you saw the jersey, the Ava jersey
Yep.
had Mexlube, and then on the side it had Pemex. So Mexlube came about through some government contracts. So the Mex government owns the Pemex, which is the oil, the
Right.
gasoline, and so they said we're gonna let a company sell the lubricants. And so Martinez Garza and a couple other people, Leaños included, some other businessmen, I think I'm not sure if they were all from Jalisco, Guadalajara area, but they end up getting that contract and they create the Mex Loop company. And then that was Promotora ended up saying, all right, we're gonna rent out Chivas. We're gonna rent him for 10 years. And then that was supposed to help the club get back on its feet. But after 9 years, um, they were still broke. I don't know what the hell was going on there, man, with the money. I don't know what they were doing,
It's all
but
laundered or what?
Mex Lou was doing some shady stuff, and they ended up getting like shut down. They got like shut down. They lost their stuff, and that's when um that's when it was not even the 10 years. It was about the 9-year mark. And so when the whole Mex Luke thing, shit hit the fan, and then the government was like, all right, we're taking the contract, and I guess they had to like, I don't know if it's Profeco, which is like they have to like see what's going in, what's going on there, because it's like it's some money. I guess they were misdirecting funds, I don't know, man. There's some shady stuff going on.
Wow.
so then, so then the club. That's when Chivas didn't know what to do, man. There was even talk that Televisa was gonna take over the club. They weren't gonna they weren't gonna own it, but they were gonna like manage it. And so there was a big uproar over that. There was talk that Phil Anschutz, Phil Anschutz owned pretty much all of the MLS, and so there was talk of him, maybe even taking over. And then just Vergara came out of nowhere, and he bought the club, the socios, man. And that's the one thing where I've been wanting to talk to a socios. Like these guys were like rats out of water. They were just willing to sell that,
I know, that's crazy, dude.
How are you so willing to let go of your stock in Chivas? Like what, So obviously there was some stuff going on there where it's like I'm getting rid of this, and my my take has been that some of these dudes were involved with the whole promotora stuff, and they probably just needed money to pay off whatever.
It's that short-term thinking that is holding us back, man. Not just
well,
Chivas,
then
but
Jaime,
Mexico in general.
the saying, the more things change, so the more they stay the same because, Taleaños promotoras, they're still around. I'm not saying they're bad, but they're still around. So we have Aleaño working with the youth, and then we have Akron sponsoring the team, and Akron is pretty much
Mex Lube.
There was left of Mex Lube, and they're the sons of the Martinez Garza. They passed away a couple of years back, so there's still you see a lot of the same people still there. They still have their paws in Chivas. They're still like benefiting, I guess. But that's pretty much. I think a lot of mismanagement of the funds, not knowing how to manage the club properly, and transition from that whole kind of semi-pro to professional type of thing. They just didn't know how to go about it right.
Wow.
And to this point, they still having a lot of issues with money, and it's not just Chivas to be fair. It's a lot of clubs that they just go bankrupt or they lose a lot of money, and you see it in Europe, which is why a lot of these teams are owned by the oil company, by the Saudis now.
Yeah.
You see all these EPL teams, and they were clubs too, a lot of them. I don't know if they still count as clubs, but then, majority stock is owned by some dude in Qatar or some prince, from Saudi Arabia.
Whoa.
So yeah, man, having a club is like a really expensive hobby, man.
It is an expensive hobby.
Most you're not really gonna make money. You're gonna lose money.
And I just hope that eventually Mexico can get the exposure that they deserve because, it's an entertaining league. There's always drama. There's always excitement going on. Sometimes you watch these Premier League matches or League One or Serie A, and you just want to blow your brains out because they're so boring. And don't get me wrong, nobody wants to see Querétaro versus, like San Luis, but at least one thing that's always guaranteed in Mexico is there's drama, especially in Liguilla. And it's just a shame that people don't really know about it outside of Mexico and the United States, because I think it would be pretty entertaining for people in the UK or in Europe or maybe even in South America. There's a huge following with Mexico. I follow this one Twitter handle, and they're from Argentina, but they post a bunch of Liga MX stuff, and I'm like, wow, man, like we have fans outside of Mexico, like people like us. So
well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, just because the amount of Argentines that end up in Mex,
yeah,
and a lot of the big names, and then fans over there can be very passionate, and they'll follow some of their favorite players. And we've had like really big players, Claudio Piojo Lopez,
Ban.
even no, but he's not Argentine.
Oh, sorry.
Chile.
Yeah.
That's about time you got one wrong. It was just me. I was beginning to feel awkward, Jaime. Uh, No, and then even coaches, man, from Menotti, Pasarela, um, so many. Peckerman was in Mex.
That's right.
Bielsa was in Mex. And you
La
seen other.
Volpe.
Nah, he wasn't never really.
Yeah, he
'Cause
won a World Cup, man.
no, he was third keeper, but he wasn't
He has a
like
World
that
Cup
known.
medal or whatever, man. Not too many people can say
He
that.
no, he does, but I'm saying he wasn't like known
I
like the
know.
way some of these other guys are.
I know.
But yeah, we've seen so many players come into Mex, and that's always been a point right there where and probably like even from other like you said Zamoranos or even like Chilenos and whatnot. But that's how you also end up with a lot like right here, especially in the U.S., where it'll be like you'll have like Central Americans or South Americans following the league because they'll have some good players like when they had um,
Cerritos.
Pavon Plumer, and then they had that other guy Suazo was at Monterrey.
Yeah.
So that's a big reason, but I don't see Europe. I don't see that happening in Europe as much as people talk about. Oh, they're not shown in Europe. Like with all the football they have, like, do you think people are even gonna watch?
Um, they will because for some reason in England it's really hard to watch your team on television. Like I think they like black out a lot of those matches, so they can't even see their own football sometimes. I'm serious.
Yeah, what time slot, man? It'd be like 3 in the morning. You come home from the pub drunk.
That's right. Yeah.
This is how one of the dudes that ended up working in Liga MX. So he used to write a lot. I got to write with him a couple times. Tom Harrison. I haven't seen him tweet as much, but he used to like tweeting a lot about stats and whatnot. But he one day watched like a late night. It's like I think he said it was like a Morelia versus some scrub team, and he just ended up liking the league, man. He thought it was wild, and
That's
he
what I'm
became a big
saying.
fan. He became a big fan of Liga MX, and he started like just writing, writing about the league and whatnot. And he ended up working at Santos Laguna for like a year. That was
Oh
that was
wow.
we had him in the pod. This was years ago though, but gotta check up on him. Se perdió. I haven't, I haven't, I
So
haven't heard of him in a long time.
while we wrap up episode 292, there is a question from the audience specifically for you, Joel.
Ah,
He's Ricardo wants to know if you would have preferred Chivas to win a Copa Libertadores over the or a Club World Cup.
no, oh come on, man, that's a softball. I'm disappointed. Uh, Ricardo has so many great observations, and he throws me this. Nah, man, Libertadores. And
Really?
when,
Over a Club World Cup?
dude, Libertadores is OG, man. Club World Cup's like 3 games. Libertadores is like a 15 round death match. It carries more weight. Trust me, man. It just carries more weight. The Club World Cup's just salsa, dude. You beat some Euro team. I know. Who cares, dude? The
Oh,
Liga
I
is
see.
like it's just to me more prestigious, more historic cup. Predates the Champions League too, man.
It's
And
over
was it
100
when
years old,
Chivas
right?
lost? Yeah, man. When Chivas lost that final, dude, I kid you not, I didn't. I stopped watching soccer. I couldn't watch it anymore. I
Dang.
like completely like cold turkey, just dropped everything, dude. That was like, and I didn't watch for like 2 or 3 years, like
Damn, like
not a
that?
single game. Yeah, dude, I was like, I couldn't, dude.
That was a tough final to win, man. Inter was a great team,
I
and
know, but the whole build up to it, everything, it was like Chivas could have even had refuerzos because you're allowed
yeah,
to take 3 players, and the club didn't even do that. The club didn't even say, okay, let me pick some guys from, you know.
if I'm not mistaken, that final was like really spaced out between semis and final. Like I think that if I'm not mistaken, that like final took place like after the World Cup. It was just at a weird time because
Well, dude,
Chivas
yeah,
had sold Chicharo.
and something I've lamented because I remember, and I said the story again. I'm gonna say it again. I'll bore you guys with it. I remember seeing the River Plate Libertadores final, and they had Crespo, and that was his last game. He was going to Parma, and he ends up scoring. I think he scores 2 goals, but they win. But I was like, why couldn't Chivas do that, man? If they're in Libertadores and you're in the finals, why not hold on to this dude and say like, you know he's yours, but after this all important match, and around the time of the final, he's with Man U playing an MLS All Star game, and so that dude, come on, man, that really hurt for me, man. I'm watching, I was like,
It's true.
what are we doing, dude? This guy just Vergara wanted to just say, oh, I sold to Man U, like who cares, man?
I
Chivas would have
know.
made
At least get
history
the
as the
job
first.
done.
Dude, that would have been historic. The first Mex team to win Libertadores, and then smacking all the South American haters in the face like a cock slap because it's all Mexicans. They can't talk shit about, oh, you're full of South Americans. That just would have been at least a good 10 years of shit talking,
So
of,
check
of
this out.
having it over them, dude.
Chivas. So I'm looking at the dates here. After a 6-week break because of the 2010 FIFA World Cup, the first leg of Copa Libertadores semifinals took place the week of July 28th. So I was right that
Yeah.
because it was weird because like I remember like Chivas looked a lot different after the World Cup, because they, there's such a big, that's 6 weeks after your quarterfinals and then you do semis and then the final. Like, I don't know,
Well, even, and then I think what had happened was Chivas. I don't know if they had qualified or they were gonna qualify, but I remember we had the fiebre porcina. The Chilean team did not want to play, so
that
they
was
booed
the
Chivas
swine
out of
flu.
the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think Mex was like, "All right, you're gonna be like that," because Chivas had offered, "We could play in a neutral venue. You don't have to come to Mex." And they presented like 4 venues, like Ecuador, Costa Rica, Uruguay, and the Chilean team was like, "No, we want those 3 points. We want to win those 3 points you know, on the desk. We don't want to win them on the field." And so I think they ended up booting them, but then I think Mex League was like, "All right, well, we're out." And they had I think they had Santander as the Banco Santander as the sponsor. Banco Santander was like, "Hey, man, we we we're banking on the Mex League being here."
Yeah.
So then that's when they were like, "Okay, come back, and then Chivas will automatically be in the finals."
It was so the group stage had just finished. Chivas were gonna play in the knockout phase, and
Oh,
then
there you go. See
yeah,
that?
and they got removed from the 2009
Yeah.
Libertadores, and then yeah, they immediately qualified for the knockout phase of the 2010.
Well, yeah,
So
and that's what bugged me because it's like if you own Chivas and you're in the knockout phase, you wanna say, okay, let me try to win this cup. Let me
exactly.
let me try to get these players. And it's like, okay, maybe there's no money, but then you could try to get them on loan. You could get, I think it's up to 3 players you could get on loan.
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't even try that. And so, man, those two things was like, oh, it was gut wrenching for me. And then letting go of Chicharo was
Yeah, that was the nail in the
even
coffin,
worse,
you know.
man. That was like, and then I knew, man. I was like, this opportunity is not gonna probably not present itself again. Probably not gonna get to see it no more. And
And we
you
didn't
know,
know at the time.
yeah, but it's just so difficult to make it. You know, to to make a final of a tournament like that, and
Wow.
especially a team like Chivas that it's every 10 years to win a liguilla. So I'm thinking, man, to how I not
We had
get to see this again?
crazy. I'm looking at the top goal scorers in that tournament. James Rodriguez was playing for Banfield at the time. He had 5. Wow. And then Chivas had Omar Bravo with 5. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah, man. And that was like, for me, I was out once they lost that final. It just,
We beat Vélez. We beat Libertad. We beat U de Chile. And then Inter in the final, man. And then, Marco Fabian with one of the most amazing goals I've ever seen. That little scissor kick and gave us a little spark of hope.
why are you opening all wounds there, Jaime? I had put that away. I had
It's been 11 years,
hidden
man.
that away deep, deep. Yeah, it has, man. But it hurt me more than the
I,
2002 loss to the U.S. at the World Cup.
you know, that final didn't hurt as much for me as
Oh,
getting eliminated in back-to-back semis in 2005 and 2006. Those for me were more
ah,
painful because we lost to Paranaense. Like, come on, man. And it's in the nature of how we lost because Mexico had been invited to the Confederations Cup, so we literally played without like 6 of our players.
well, yeah, that's La Volpe took all these players that he even took the goalkeeper that he didn't even use. Um, I think they were using was it Corona? They were using Jesus Corona, I think,
Yep. Oribe Peralta.
and on loan, but I think he takes Corona and doesn't even play him. So he took a couple guys that he didn't even use that,
Yeah.
and so I think that's where the club needed to be like, hey, if you're not going to use them, this is very important for us. So I don't know what the club was doing, man. Just trying to look good by saying, oh, look, we have 10 seleccionados. And it's like, that's just, come on, man.
Yeah. So, hour and a half. Want to thank all the listeners for joining in. Our
Yeah,
unconditional support. Thank you guys. Ricardo trolling, but we appreciate you, man. John was in the comments as well. Yeah, make sure to check out our website, Soccer Chronicle. Took some really cool photos of the Mexico-Nigeria game, the Cali Clásico, and then Nations League stuff. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be covering Atlas America. They're having a friendly out there in San Jose, so it should be a really good turnout. We'll see how their preseason is going. Really haven't heard much America news, and I know we've gotten feedback that we talk too much about Chivas. So don't worry, guys.
yeah,
Next week on episode 293, I'll come back with some intel from being on the sidelines and seeing how America
I
looks in
blame
preseason.
Jaime. Actually, yeah, it should be more America focused, and it'll be a rematch for Solari, who I feel like his players sabotaged this season, man, with their with their with their party during playoffs.
Hey, man. I mean, I said this before. Sex scandals end up turning into championship runs. You look at Leicester City. They went
Not
on.
always, man.
They went to Thailand because their owner was from Thailand. They went over there for some preseason stuff and got caught with it was like a brothel or whatever. So they got rid of the coach. They got rid of some of the players, and then the legendary run of winning the Premier League happens for them. Then you look at the Phoenix Suns. There's been a girl that went on a podcast, started talking about how she like blew the entire team and Look at the Phoenix Suns,
Damn.
man. They're in the NBA Finals.
Shit.
So
We need to bring her to Chivas.
So America got caught with this sex scandal. Who knows, man? Maybe that's the turning point for
Okay,
them.
well, you mean for the ensuing season, like the desmadre happens, and then the following season.
Yeah, the
is
following
when
season, course correction, that post nut clarity, You're like, all right, I got that out of my system. Let's focus on this job. Any closing thoughts before we head out?
Nah, man, you opened some old wounds there, Jaime.
Oh, you're gonna have to take a shot
some
of tequila,
shots
man,
or something.
some chente.
Couple shots.
You'll be fine.
I'll drink to forget.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Catch you guys next week on episode 293. This is Jaime Landeros and Joel signing out. Have a good night.